everybody, welcome back to the kitchen. Today we are going to make some homemade hamburger helper, super quick easy meal, and we're going to make some southern style biscuits. I haven't made biscuits in a while, but I promised the boys that once we installed this propane stove that they would have biscuits often, and that hasn't happened. So we're going to do it today. And we're also going to make some pumpkin bars with cream cheese icing in celebration of the month of October. And everybody loves pumpkin spice, so we're going to give it a go. We have a visitor in the kitchen.
Looks like he's sitting in timeout.
Hey, bud. You alright? You good? You want some pumpkin bars? You want to go outside? How far can you turn your head? You're such a good boy.
I was just hoping for a snack, man.
You want a snack? Are you hungry? Why are you looking at me like that? Are you mad about it a little bit? Alright, I love you. So the first thing I'm going to get started on is our pumpkin bars. And I do not have a pumpkin here that I carved out or anything like that. So just using the canned stuff. And it's going to take about 15 ounces, so 2 of these cans. We're going to start out with all of our wet ingredients first. Living off grid, we don't have a whole lot of extra time, currently anyways, to do everything from scratch. We do a lot from scratch, but not everything. Mostly our bread making and stuff, which you'll see a little bit of today. And coming up pretty soon, we're going to do some no-knead recipes for bread. It's a really good recipe. And the last time I made it with the everything bagel season, and it was fantastic. The smell of fresh bread bacon. Good stuff. Alright, so we've got our pumpkin in there. We've got a cup of oil that we're going to add to that. I've already got it measured out here. There's a lot of oil. And we got 4 eggs that I'm going to get cracked and put in here. And then we'll get that mixed up. Alright, we got that mixed up. Now we're going to add a cup and 2/3 of granulated sugar. Alright, so now that I've got all the wet ingredients together and mixed up, I've created our dry ingredient bowl here, which is just 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon. I've got 2 teaspoons of baking powder and 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and I've also got 1 teaspoon of salt. And I'm going to gradually add that into our wet ingredients here and get it all mixed up together, and then we're going to get in the oven. Just getting this poured into a 9x13 casserole dish. I did lightly spray it with non-stick spray. Hopefully it won't stick. Usually it doesn't, but never know. Alright, we're going to get this in the oven on 350 we're going to check in about 25 to 30 minutes. Alright, so now we're going to move on to those homemade southern biscuits. I love making biscuits. One of my favorite things to eat. Now, here in Alaska, if you've watched any of my other cooking videos, you know we've talked about the fact that self-rising flour is not much of a thing up here. Most bread is made with yeast. And that's all fine and good down south in Walmart and some other, probably, I'm sure, box stores or local grocery stores. You can find Southern biscuit flour that says in the middle of it Formula L. And all that is that flour contains butter flavored lard. Now, with biscuits, you can either use regular lard. Alright, today we're going to use butter flavored lard because I do not have that flour up here. It's not a thing. Makes me sad. But you could also use, in lieu of that, just take, a stick of butter like this and shred it down with a grater into your flour. It'll work just the same to add that butter. Or you can always brush up, the top of your biscuits after they're done cooking with melted butter as well. Works. So anyway, the ingredients for the biscuits is just self-rising flour, and we're probably going to use, I don't do a lot of stuff by measurement, so do not have an exact measurement for that. I would say, if I had to guess, it's probably about 2 cups of flour. Comes out and makes usually about 12 biscuits. And then we've got a little over a cup of milk here, and this is actually instant dry milk that we used, because that's what we have on hand. And we're going to make buttermilk out of that because I do not have any. And the way to do that is just 1 tablespoon of white vinegar for 1 cup of milk. So we're going to get that started and have it sit to the side, and then we're going to get our flour in our bowl, and we're going to take a couple tablespoons of lard and put that in there and get it all mixed up. All right, I've got my lard in here, my flour, and now I'm going to put my buttermilk in. I'm not going to do all of it, I'm going to do most of it. And then I'm going to take my hand in here and I'm going to mix it all up. It's not pretty, but it's worth it. Got that in a nice ball of dough. And what I like to do for my biscuits is I like to just take it in the same bowl, or you can do it on the counter if you want, but I like to almost just take it and fold it in half. Squish it down a little bit, take it and fold it the same way. It's sort of like, not really kneading, because you don't have to do that with biscuit dough, but it creates layers in your biscuits. Like if you've ever used the Pillsbury Graham biscuits or something like that, they have the flaky layers. This almost creates that same thing. The only advice I would give to you is, if you do that, just don't do it too many times, because it's almost as if you're kneading the dough and it will make it stiff. So just do it a few times and be done with it. And then what I like to do is I like to just take a piece off, roll it up a little bit, put it on my pan. This is an air bake pan, and I just greased it with some lard and squish it down with my fingers. There's your biscuit. You're good to go. So I'm going to get these other biscuits rolled up and ready to go, and then we'll get these in the oven too, and we'll make the rest of dinner. Alright, so I've got all my biscuits rolled out here, and I've got this little bit of dough left over and not much room. So I learned this from a very special lady in my life. Her name is Jane. We love her very much and miss her. She told me one time that if you roll this last little bit of dough up into a snake, sort of, the shape of a snake, and put it at the end of your pan like that, it will cook all the rest of these evenly. Sometimes when you're doing a recipe and they'll tell you to spin the pan halfway through the recipe while it's cooking, that sort of eliminates that process. And you can do it and try it. It seems to work for me. The woman's a genius when it comes to cooking, so I'm going to trust what she says. So let's roll this up into sort of a snake. And usually this is the part of the biscuit that the dogs get everything. We get pretty much. But I'm just going to sit right here at the end of the rest of our biscuits. And once our pumpkin bars are done, we'll get these biscuits in the oven. Right now I'm going to get cleaned up and get started on the rest of dinner. Alright, so our first ingredient for our homemade hamburger helper is our hamburger meat. And we got a little over a pound on here. We're going to get that browned up. Alright, now we've got our hamburger meat browned up, and we're just going to dump in a whole box of elbow macaroni. You can choose whatever noodles you like. And then we are going to also add about 4 cups of chicken broth. Might be a little more than 4 cups, but it's fine. Let's just give this a stir. I want to make sure that everything is submerged in the liquid. Soaks it all up. Just let that simmer for about 15 minutes. You can add in whatever spices you like, if you want to spice it up some, or just some garlic, salt and pepper, however you like it. For us, we're just going to add some salt and pepper and garlic, and then just let it simmer, and then we'll add in some cheese and milk, and we'll be done. Alright, we've got our pumpkin bars out of the oven. It smells fantastic. We're going to let them cool off, and right now our oven just went off. It's preheated to 425. I'm going to get our biscuits in the oven and check them out in about 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes. Ooh, the baby's hot.
They look good, though.
So as you can see, our little trick worked. Everything's baked evenly, and I did not spin the pan around halfway through. So the snake trick works. Jane was right. See, our macaroni has fully been cooked. There's just a little bit of juice still left in there. That's okay. And right now we're going to add our last 2 ingredients. A cup of milk. And a bag of shredded cheese. I'm going to give that a good mix. And it will thicken up just a little bit. And we will be eating our dinner. Alright, I've got my softened cream cheese and my softened butter in here. We're just going to mix this together really well. I got to turn on the power. And that was 1 stick of butter and 1 8-ounce block of cream cheese. Now I'm going to add in about a teaspoon or so of vanilla extract. Alright, now we're going to do our powdered sugar, and once we get that squared away, we'll ice our pumpkin bars. Man, that smells good.
Mm-hmm.
You're like to waste no icing now.
Mm-mm. You can't.
Oh, that's bad. That's bad news.
Yeah. That's against the rules, man.
Who's rules?
The rules of food.
No wasting.
Yeah, I feel like Gordon Ramsay would have a problem with that.
All right. Good enough. All right, we're going to cut into these bad boys and enjoy them.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see y'all next time.
Thank you for watching.